Hi, everybody. Meteorologist Joe Cioffi here. Weather in 5 days in 5 minutes. Brought to you by Omni True Value Hardware at 1226 North Wellwood Avenue in West Babylon, New York, and Southwest Suffolk County. If we get a flash freeze, you're going to need some rock salt. And Omni's got plenty of rock salt and other supplies, including all the other snow and ice melt products like Mag Ice Pellets and Flakes and Pellido. And of course, if you need a new snowblower or two or any other supplies to get you through this winter, you can head over to Omni. They have the best prices anywhere. 631-756-1125 is the phone number. The website, omnitruevalue.com. Not really very much has changed as in the last couple of days in terms of how this major storm is going to be coming out. I've got the map up here with the watches that are up, and we just follow along where the winter storm watches are. You can sort of see where the storm track is going to be, something like this. And we also have a little bit of moisture in the southeast that is going to move up. And in places in northwestern Virginia and easternmost West Virginia, western Maryland, there's going to be some cold air that's going to get trapped there on Thursday. And there could be some snow and ice to deal with as this warm front moves up to the northeast. Otherwise, it's really going to be about what goes on in Illinois, Indiana, Wisconsin, Iowa, northern Missouri, and much of eastern Kansas as far as snow is concerned. And then in the east, it is going to be about heavy rain on the order of maybe 2+ inches in a relatively short period of time. And the wind. I think the wind is going to be a big issue, particularly the south wind coming up with gusts probably past 50 miles an hour late Thursday night into Friday afternoon. And then the cold air comes rushing in a big hurry after that. And if there's some standing moisture around or a little bit of leftover precip, maybe a quick change over to a little snow and a flash freeze. Not out of the question. Looking at the satellite loop, it's nice and dry in the northeast and northern mid-Atlantic states, other than some clouds still hanging around the Great Lakes and up in northern New England. We have a low that is moving across Florida, and that's producing clouds and even some rain. I actually saw a little bit of snow here up in North Georgia this morning, a few snowflakes and snow pellets out of this. And in the northwest, we are seeing that energy that is coming in that is going to make the big storm in the Great Lakes. Here's what's active on the radar this afternoon from North Carolina down to Florida. The heavier downpours are down in Florida, also in central Alabama, and you see where the northern edge of this is, up into southern Tennessee. All of this is moving along to the east. Precipitation-wise, WPC, very large area of 1.5 to 2.5 inches plus from west central Pennsylvania, all of New Jersey, northeastward up through New England and upstate New York. Also, 1.5 inch plus rains in coastal South Carolina, and big rains over the next 5 days moving into the Pacific Northwest. And with respect to snow, this is the probability of at least two. The pink areas here, and then you get into the reds. The pink is 80% probability. The red is 100% probability. 50% just reaches into western Ohio, southern Illinois, central Missouri. St. Louis is at about 40 to 50% for at least two. And as far as bigger amounts go, this is the probability of at least 8. And that looks to be in Wisconsin and on up through the upper peninsula of Michigan. And I was just trying to get some clues here as far as what WPC is doing for Friday into Saturday, and you'll notice they have a 10 to 30% flank here from the western half of Connecticut to just north of New York City to just north of Philadelphia, Washington, and Baltimore. That light green is a 10 to 30% for at least 2.5 inches of snow and sleet. I think it's going to be far less than that, but they're opening up the door to the chance that there could be a very, very brief changeover. And normally it wouldn't even be a big deal, except for the fact that the temperatures are going to be falling so quickly that we could have a situation where we could wind up with a flash freeze occurring late Friday afternoon into Friday evening, which going into Christmas weekend is probably the absolute worst time for something like that to happen. And I will just tell you this. The answer to that question probably won't be known until Thursday night or maybe as late as Friday morning as to whether that's going to happen. Because most times either the precipitation shuts off, and then the cold air comes in and it has time to dry and evaporate, or you get a changeover to snow and you get some snow out of it, and of at least a few inches. You're not going to get the second one for sure. It's a matter of whether that cold air comes in quick. So no issues today, tonight into Wednesday. You see the snow breaking out across the northern plains later Wednesday and Wednesday night with that low in Illinois. You start to bring this moisture up from the southeast with rain. GFS producing some ice and maybe even starting out as snow in parts of central Pennsylvania, but then this large area of rain moves up the coast. The gradient gets really tight into Friday morning. That south wind coming up on a day when we have the new moon means that south-facing shorelines may have to deal with some coastal flooding. This front is racing eastward. This is Friday morning. By midday Friday, the front is on the coast, and you see the back edge of the precip there, the darker blue, indicating that in some areas there could be a changeover to snow before it ends. And then the front sweeps on through. Very cold air comes in. And in terms of how fast the cold air comes in, the temperature forecast that I was looking at in and around say just as an example, the New York City area around midday will be about 53 or 54. By the time we get to 7 o'clock in the evening, those temperatures are going to be in the mid to upper 20s. So you're going to drop roughly 25 degrees in about 5 to 6 hours time. That's a pretty fast temperature drop. So any standing moisture would probably freeze up. And then, of course, we've got bitter cold air in just about all of the east through the weekend, although the weekend will be dry. We'll have strong winds into Christmas Eve. And even on Christmas Day, it's still going to be on the breezy side. And at least for eastern Pennsylvania to southern New England, temperatures are going to struggle in the low to at best mid-20s. And as far as lows are concerned, we're going to see lows in the below zero readings in parts of Illinois and Indiana, and single digits from this going all the way down into northern Georgia for Friday night and for Saturday night. So it is definitely going to be cold. And by the way, after Christmas, if the models are correct, there's a diving system that dies out early next week. Assuming it dies out, we'll start to see moderating temperatures as we go through the week, and maybe by the time we get to New Year's, it can actually be quite mild, and we don't see much in the way of precipitation next week. So from that standpoint, this major storm goes through, and then we're done for a while. Weather in 5 is brought to you by Omni True Value Hardware at 1226 North Wellwood Avenue in West Babylon, New York, 631-756-1125, the phone number, and the website omnitruevalue.com. So I'm going to leave you with the satellite loop and remind you that the Joe and Joe Weather Show tonight at 7:35 p.m. We'll have everything updated. We'll have all the latest watches, any new watches that are issued, warnings, if any, that are issued in the Midwest. I don't think they're going to issue them this early. And we'll, of course, review everything short, medium, and long range Christmas weekend, and who knows what else. So we'll see you tonight.